This baby is not even 100 years old, but he is the father of all. Even the President of the United States had to beg him to borrow money. He is lying in a crib made of pure gold. The toy is a 24-karat gold crown with diamonds. There were countless gold coins and tickets hanging from it. Every servant in the family had served the British royal family. Wall Street was a gutter in his family's eyes. Even the family photo of his family are carved according to the specifications of the U.S. Presidential Hill. Tired of eating the seafood and want to change something light? Surprisingly, he opened a McDonald's directly at home. You may think he is a billionaire. No, he is actually a trillionaire. What's even more annoying is that such a rich man's family is still very harmonious. His father will play with him even if he's busy.
Great toss, son.
When his dad talks to the president about funding projects, he made a phone call. His dad stopped the conversation immediately and he'd focus on talking to him. But he wasn't happy being rich and powerful. The reason is simple. He had no friends. Once Richie's rich friends got out of class, either to buy companies or to predict the stock. In order to make friends, he spent a lot of money to buy a large factory, formed a workers' union, defended workers' rights, raised the wages of workers, saved thousands of unemployed workers. But the poor kids still didn't like him.
Well, I was wondering if maybe I can play with you guys.
Not!
But the strange thing is, the next day, these people came out of nowhere. Richie did everything he could to entertain them. Directly at home to build a roller coaster. He didn't feel like it. He also invited them to play go-karts on the property, a speedboat for each of them, racing in the man-made lake on the property. Afterwards, he still didn't think it was exciting. Ricky took them to a roller coaster. Yes, he has a private roller coaster at home. It's no more winding than the Atrium Serpent at Six Flags, the most famous amusement park in the United States. At Six Flags, it was the happiest day of Rich's life. He thought he'd made friends, but when they left, they said to Richie,
What about $100?
Turns out they didn't change their minds at all. They were paid $100 each by the butler to let them come over to play with Richie. This makes Richie very disappointed. Is the rich do not deserve the pure friendship? But what he didn't realize was that this was just the beginning. Soon he will lose all his possessions. It's not an exaggeration to say, this pig snout-like thing may save your life, like pointing it at this glass of red wine.
One, Petite Sirah, 1974.
Then point it at this pot of flowers.
Roses, Hilversum, Demi Blue.
This machine is again so amazing, but now he smells a deadly weapon.
Trinitrotoluene.
Translation: Trinitrotoluene has a more dangerous name.
TNT!
The man hurriedly threw it out the window, but his private plane was blown up anyway. The couple was never heard from again. They were Richie's parents. The purpose of the trip was to meet the Queen of England. The pig snout was a gift for the Queen. But David, the company executive, had his eye on the Richie family's fortune. He wanted to dismantle the factory and sell the land, but Richie's father flatly refused. As an entrepreneur, he had to keep his workers fed. So not only did he not disband the factory, he also raised the wages of the workers. But David, the capitalist, did not understand. In order to seize the company's property, he planted a bomb on the plane. He thought his family of 3 would die in an accident. But I did not expect that Richie did not get on the plane. That's right. He spent the whole day at home playing with his civilian friends. David had planned to kill Richie's family and inherit the company. But he didn't expect Richie to live, and he became the sole heir. A kid is the owner of the company. I'm afraid the company is not far from bankruptcy. But after Richie took office, faced with the company without a leader, surprisingly, he made a number of reforms. First of all, to improve the welfare of workers, but doing so would increase labor costs. In order to cut costs, Richie led by example, reduced his own salary. Other executives, though reluctant, but had to follow suit. In order to save money, David decided to reduce the amount of nuts in the candy they sold. But Richie had the opposite idea. He heavily increased the amount of high-quality nuts in the candy. This increased the cost, but it was well received. He took the market by storm. It was only a matter of time before he had a monopoly. Richie's reputation grew from there. Company executives were proud to emulate his behavior. But Richie was still just a kid. For David, the easiest way to bring down a kid was to kill him. So he planned to start with the butler. He took the earrings off his wife's ears and set it on a gold phone. And sure enough, the shorted phone was fixed. With this maritime satellite phone, the man was able to contact his son in America. He couldn't wait to see his son. He didn't think the next time he would see him would be in bed. David is trying to take over the Richie family fortune, and the most important treasure of the Richie family, a treasure chest called the Ancestral Tomb. He decides to kill them all. To keep Richie prisoner, he paid off the police. He framed Richie's butler for the murder of Richie's parents, which led to his imprisonment. Then he sent his men to break into Richie's house. He installed cameras all over the house, nominally to protect Richie, but in fact, he had him under house arrest. It's a good thing the Richie family was always interested in technological inventions. David didn't find out that there was a lab in the basement of the Richie house. Inside, a fat scientist had invented a very corrosive substance. This was the tool that saved the butler's life. Richie sneaks into the prison. He gave the housekeeper a toothpaste in the name of visiting him in prison. The butler wanted to use it to brush his teeth, but then he picked up the toothbrush. Then he realized there was something wrong with the toothpaste. He used it to melt the bars. He broke out of prison and rejoined Richie. Next, they teamed up with the kids from the ghetto. They break into the house and try to fight David, only to find that his parents had been kidnapped. What David wants most is the Richie family's ancestral tomb. If he gets the treasure inside, he could become the richest man in the world. To save their lives, the family had to take David into the tomb. He thought there would be mountains of gold inside, but what he saw were piles and piles of rags. That's right, inside this so-called rich tomb, it was all the trinkets that Rich's parents had put there. They don't look valuable, but all these are the testimony of their years together.
And there's all of this crap. Shoot them now, please.
Enraged, David decides to kill the 3 members of the family, but the ancestral tomb is connected to their backyard. The mountain, carved in the family's likeness, is full of winding, dark passages, but David had a gun after all. Even from a distance, he could kill them all in one shot. Not to mention, David's subordinates are pounding them with lasers. In the nick of time, the butler appeared out of nowhere. He took out David's subordinates. He grabbed the laser engraving machine. It was originally designed to engrave stone. Now it can kill David. David did not die directly. Instead, he was dumped in midair. The Richie family was kind after all. The burden of judging David will be left to the court. At the end of the movie, Richie has made a group of ordinary friends who know each other well. David is under the supervision of the police and lives a life of correctional labor. In fact, there is no distinction between the superior and the inferior in this world. A noble soul is naturally admired by others. Only people with low self-esteem will use their noble origins to mark their special, even if they have a lot of money. Also, the same humble to the dust. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.